Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for news stories from Yellow Cat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. Retail workers of Reddit. What is the most desperate scam a customer's tried to pull on you? Years ago, I worked at a Walmart and this guy comes in trying to return his Wii that doesn't work. I just bought this for my kids last week and it's already broken, but they won't take it back because I lost my receipt. The Wii in question was the most beat up and disgusting looking GameCube I have ever seen. Like, he found it in a landfill or something. I should also point out that I wasn't working the return desk or even a cashier. I was stocking the food department. Turns out he was trying to talk to every employee in the store into either giving him a refund or a Wii. Worked in a bottle shop. One afternoon, a shady character entered and spent 10 minutes browsing the liquor section. I stayed at the checkout and watched him on the CCTV. He ended up shoving 2 bottles of Johnny Walker Blue down his pants and walked out. Store policy is not to confront shoplifters. That's what insurance is for. I called the police and burnt the footage onto a DVD for them to collect. About an hour later, the same guy returns with the bottles, demanding a cash refund because he purchased the wrong type. Just as I was telling him I can't do a refund without a receipt, the police walked in to collect the footage. He left with them in handcuffs. Same type of thing happened to us. As I was walking in for my shift, there was a car stopped right in front of the doors. Next thing I know, I'm walking up to a guy carrying about 10 pairs of shoes out in their boxes as he's running out of the store at full speed and basically Superman jumped into the car. They sped off and the APAs were all kinda staring at each other going, WTF just happened? Later on that night, dude came back wearing a pair of the shoes he stole and his hoodie still had one of our security tags on it, so he set off the alarm when he walked in. They followed him around for a bit. Eventually, he made a run for the door and an APA grabbed the hoodie on his way out, hoodie came off, and dude kept running into the parking lot. We were almost at closing time anyway, so they locked the doors behind them. Then, this madman came back to beat on our glass door to demand his hoodie back. He'd also inadvertently lost one shoe and he needed that back as well. We obviously refused and he called the cops. They were very amused with the situation when they got there. I don't think he went to jail though. Years ago, I worked at a small hardware store where they were constantly getting huge rolls of copper wire stolen. One day, this guy and his girlfriend come in to return a roll. I was a few months in on the return counter. They had no receipt, and when I scanned the item for the return, it was only doing the price per foot. I couldn't figure out how to get the SKU or the price for the whole roll. Called the manager, and he comes out and right away knows there's no way these people bought a roll and returned it. So he asks when they bought it, and they say 2 weeks ago, the common response. And my manager tells them, oh really? Because the last time we sold an entire roll was over 3 months ago. The guy starts to get brave and tells him, so you're saying I stole it? And the manager says yes. They ended up leaving and left the roll behind. Before they leave the store, the guy says, I'm coming back and bringing the cops. Manager says, go ahead, that way you can explain to them how you stole the roll. We don't deliver the pizzas we make, it's carry-out only. Had a customer call and have a long/angry conversation with me because I wouldn't deliver to her. She proceeds to say, a couple times, you must be new here, I know the owner personally. To which I responded, well, I'm the owner's daughter and we don't deliver. Sold a guy a phone years ago when I worked for a wireless carrier. Spent an hour getting all his information transferred and set up his new phone. He comes in the next day with a shattered screen. Apparently, he didn't remember that I was the rep who helped him and proceeded to tell me that is how it looked when he left the store. Needless to say, the phone was not replaced. A guy comes in to fill his son's Adderall script. Guy is super twitchy and son as chill as could be. For all controls, we are supposed to run a report that shows everywhere in the state they have filled any. Of course, the report is a mess. Multiple pharmacies, multiple scripts, multiple doctors, all the red flags. To top it off, an Adderall script within that week had been filled, so we really couldn't fill this one. Dad comes back, we tell him that we can't fill it, and Dad starts going on about how his wife must have filled it, but they need some for today, blah blah blah. We decline, and his last words to us are, "My son needs them for a birthday. He has to go today. Can you help?" No, dude, we can't help. You're clearly taking your son's pills. Get help and stop using your son to get high on prescription drugs. A woman came in, grabbed an herb-roasted rotisserie chicken, moseyed over to the casual seating, ate 85% of it with her bare hands, then brought the carcass to customer service and tried to return it. I used to work at Best Buy. This guy came in and returned a laptop saying that the box had some old laptop in it. He was yelling and screaming that we don't know how to do business. Manager gave him full refund. We started to check that old laptop he brought in. It won't turn on. Looks like the motherboard was toast. We pulled the hard drive out and started checking the data. Hard drive was completely fine with everything on it. We started looking for the clues and found the pictures of the guy who returned the laptop. It was his old machine. We had all his info. Manager called him and said he has 15 minutes to bring the new laptop back or he is calling police. That guy came in, dropped the laptop at front desk, never saw him again in the store. I'd like to return this unopened pack of cigarettes I purchased earlier today at your establishment. Might be paraphrasing a little bit. I open the store every day. Hadn't seen this dude once that day. Looked at his cigarettes. It's a brand we don't carry. Asked him for a receipt to confirm he purchased them here, but he obviously didn't have one. That's fine. If you can just tell me what time you were in here today, I can look it up on our cameras to confirm your purchase. My God, the backpedaling and stuttering. I grabbed his cigarette pack and fake examined them. Wait a moment, sir. Are you sure you purchased these at this store? I don't think we carry this brand. He took the cigarettes back, came up with something about his brother must have yada yada, and then he walked out. A tobacco store in town sells some of the brands we carry at a much cheaper price, so people like to try and do returns at our store to make a quick buck. We generally don't take any returns on tobacco, but this guy didn't even scope out his mark. Resident of Indiana, couldn't find anything pertaining to the legality of tobacco returns in my state. If it helps, anytime the ATF drops in for a checkup, the only question we get asked is if we sell individual cigarettes. Outside of that, I've worked a few retail jobs where tobacco was sold, and I wasn't told at any of them that tobacco returns were illegal. I'm assuming it's more individual store policy on whether or not they take returns, and I've worked retail long enough to see how an employee would tell someone it's illegal rather than against store policy just to help avoid an argument. Not to say it might not be illegal in other states, just that I don't think it is in mine. Had a customer return a vacuum cleaner once. My supervisor did the return, thankfully. The box went back on the floor unchecked. The next customer who wanted to buy it checked it out before they went to the register. The whole effing thing had been replaced with a catering-sized tin of beetroot. At my old job, they used to have sales pretty often and would also give out coupons for specific dates. For Boxing Day, they had a 30% off sale, and we'd also given out coupons that would start the next day. Lady comes in on Boxing Day, and we worked out that she'd get more of a deal if she used the coupon instead, so I offered to hold her items for her. I explicitly told her that she wouldn't be able to get the 30% off, and she decided to use the coupon instead. She comes back the next day, goes to cash to purchase her items, and gets angry because they wouldn't give her both the 30% off and let her use the coupon. She told the cashier that the person she'd spoken to the day before had told her she could do that, sees me, and says, "It was that girl who told me." I went to cash to speak to her. I was a key holder at the time, and her story changed about 3 times through the whole thing. First, she said that I told her she could combine the discounts. Then she said that I never told her she couldn't combine the discounts. And then finally, it was, well, I don't understand why I'm not able to do this. Another manager came over to help sort it out, and as I walked away, I heard her saying that I was a liar. Now I work at Sephora, and we always get people trying to return fake products. My favorite one was when someone returned a face mask but had put a can of tuna in the box instead of the actual face mask. I work at a movie theater. We have a $5 discount day. A customer comes over and starts telling me how she was there the prior day and that we had given them the wrong soda and her diabetic husband had drunk it and suddenly had to go to the hospital to get medication to cure him. Several things wrong with that story. One, that's not how diabetes works. You don't die from one sip of soda, and generally if you did, you'd have insulin to take. Two, the employee she had complained to in order to call me over had been the only concessionist the day prior, and somehow she failed to identify him when I asked her who it was. I asked her for a ticket stubs or proof of purchase, and she came up with nothing. I went to the attendants for the prior day and pulled the report for the movie they claimed to have saw. To my delight, the showtime they claimed to have seen had 0 tickets sold to it. I printed the report and went back to meet them. Yeah, sorry, looks like there were 0 tickets sold to that showtime, and I showed her the report. She then tried to say we sold her tickets to the wrong movie. I told her that was impossible because then she would have been in the wrong auditorium. She had no response to that. Then she spluttered that she guessed she would just go buy tickets, and I said, yeah, I guess so. She left. Customer shows me a coupon on his phone. Several problems with this. It's against corporate policy to scan coupons off the phone. There's a sheet of paper taped to the counter with all of the rules, and it's like the 6th one on it. When my kowtowing A-munch of a manager scanned that stupid effing thing anyways, the system rejected the coupon, saying the coupon wasn't issued to him. The offer that the coupon was for was different than the offer shown on his phone. There was an Instagram stamp on the coupon on his phone. Also, customer tries to return some makeup without a receipt. I look it over and tell her I can't return it. She tries to say that we have to since we sell it here and whatnot. I tell her I can't return it because it has a security label from the grocery store that's 5 miles down the road. She books it out and leaves said makeup behind. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, the likes, and the comments. See you in the next video.